slope is so much.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's enough to have a complete walkout basement, but it'd be more convenient to go into the basement with equipment.
Please enter your participant or moderator code, followed by the pound key.
That could be good storage.
Please say your name, followed by the pound key.
Maybe the footprint could be smaller because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that would, elevation of that is something.
Well,
That's the sign.
yeah, that's.
Say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Consider for approval minutes and agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the next agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Kirby, seconded by Jensen to approve minutes and agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passed. Discussion with possible action regarding COVID-19 policies.
Good morning.
Morning, Julie.
Morning.
How are you guys?
Good.
I have nothing new right now. So
Okay.
we still have to require masks down here. So, but I believe our numbers are going down.
Great.
So
Good.
I'll be quite honest, I have not looked since we had the surveyors here last week. So I have not. That was my priority. Sorry. So.
How'd the surveyors go, Julie? I haven't asked you.
Very well. We did very good. We do not have a revisit, and I don't have the official document from them. I'm supposed to get it this week. We still have to do a plan of correction on a few things, just some housekeeping things. The mandate that was put into effect that on the 14th of February, that checked out all okay. Our infectious control was all okay. Our emergency plan was okay. We just had a few housekeeping things we have to put in a plan of correction, but it was a standard visit instead of a conditional, so that was good. So we haven't had one of those in a while, so I'm very proud of my staff for doing that, and especially in the time of what we've been dealing with the last 3 years since they've been here. So.
That's good.
Yep.
Anybody
So
have
otherwise, I don't have anything new. I can look real quick and then let you guys know later on and hang out, but I have not had a chance to really look at it yet. But I believe our numbers are going down, and I know the CDC just released something, but we have, and are lifting some of the masks and stuff, but we have to, for ours, we have to keep ours on down here. So.
You guys have anything for Julie?
Nope.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Julie. Consider for approval with liquor license for the barn in Buffalo Center.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license for the barn in Buffalo Center.
I'll second it.
A motion by Jensvold and seconded by Derby to approve the liquor license for the barn in Buffalo Center. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Just go with corrections, not in Buffalo Center.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well,
Near?
they have it on there. I suppose it's the address is Buffalo's. I don't know. I bet the address is Woden.
It says address, Buffalo Center.
Oh,
Okay, so we'll say near Buffalo Center.
All right, yeah.
I just went by it
Person, so
yesterday.
I'm kind of
Buffalo
anal
Center
about
since
that.
everybody's love, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the generic one out in the middle of nowhere.
I just went by there yesterday coming from Bancroft. Are they open?
I don't think, no, they're not open this time of year.
They're not.
No, they take the winter off. I think they open up again in sometime in March. So it'll be sometime this month.
What are you doing?
Do anything.
It would be nice if we had a window there.
Consider signing the final contract for secondary roads bargaining unit.
I suppose Scott doesn't have to, you can go ahead and call him, he's next.
75-30. I called Becky. Tell you that
She
one.
didn't hear it.
Becky's here, I just saw her in the hall a little bit.
Whether Scott's might be roaming the office or something. 32.
Hey Becky, this is Susan up in the boardroom. Is Scott around? Okay. Sure, that'd be great. Thanks.
What's roaming in, so you
Roaming. Probably thought it was a little too quick.
Yeah, they're the same. I just want to make sure.
I was wearing, so the language never really changed for the pager time, right? Or did it? On-call pay, yeah, it wasn't call, but it was called pager.
Yeah, I have switched to on call.
Are we gonna need to stamp this too, or?
No, there's too many signatures for a stamp.
Morning.
Morning.
We're going over the contract.
Okay.
She's reviewing.
So we never changed the wording of the dates of the summer and winter hours. That was just at your discretion, right?
That's what I understand the way we left it, yep.
We have for us, Scott.
Well, we better get this done.
Oh, we got to do it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Everything looked okay?
I think we remember some of those base wages, but I'm sure it's right.
I'll make a motion to approve the final contract for secondary road bargaining unit.
I'll second it.
A motion by by Derby and seconded by Jensvold to approve the contract for secondary roads bargaining unit,
Approve signing.
approve the signing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
What do you have for us?
Mm-hmm. Not too much. We have some good news. We got our winter stockpiling, our normal winter stockpiling completed already. Our rock budget looks pretty good yet since we didn't do too bad last year with, the roads, and we did some different things like crushing asphalt that I think saved some money. So we're going to continue to stockpile a little bit ahead, I guess, and get some in a pile in Thompson for spot loads or.
How you doing with the contract with the gravel pile?
Well, not great. I called him after we talked last and said I'd like to get something organized, and so he was going to call his crusher Reddings and see if we could get sitting at the same table. I don't know why. There's some urgency there.
Do we have to go to the Ukrainian Belarus border to do this?
I mean, it's all been cordial so far. Just,
Yeah, tried to get people together.
yeah. And probably not really my job to organize that, but I'm trying to.
Usually the seller would want to get that.
You would think. You'd think.
Seems to me.
I mean, I'm confident we'll get a good deal worked out. It just, rather get it done sooner than later.
Is there a certain volume you're looking at for this year then?
In the budget, I got 50,000 ton. So that might either mean that's what we put up, or we come up with an arrangement and put up 100,000, pay half this year and half in next fiscal year by some arrangement. Or
It all depends on what the price of the material's gonna be.
yeah, that really makes a pretty big difference if it's 620 like we were paying, or if it's more like 4, which is kind of what we're seeing in Kasuth County, plus what we think royalties that are. It's kind of a guess, so I'm hoping we can cut off some of the price. But
How much was it again? I mean,
like
how,
620 is what we paid the last time we crushed,
and how many?
and we put up 100,000 ton at that time.
100,000. I missed
You
that.
said it's less over in Kasuth County?
Well, they own their own pits, so we know what their gravel processing, crushing costs are, or, we can get that, I kind of have a general idea. Some of them are dry, some of them they have to pump, so there's some variables there, and the amount of stripping, there's variables there. But I think royalties somewhere between 50 cents and $1 at the most for the landowner. But Riley's been doing some research too. We'll see if that's kind of where he's thinking. And then it depends on if we try and stretch the cost over, it's kind of like financing, so that affects the price too. If we put up the whole pile and can't pay for it all right away.
Well, the good thing is you got all your rock hauled from out of the county into the county before the fuel prices went crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's, always good. We only figure once it's in a pile, it's safe, the value's not going down, it's not deteriorating. So the more we can haul when we have the budget to do so, we feel like we should do that, so.
It's kind of the off season for hauling, I imagine over
It's
there.
all done when the roads are froze instead of running up and down and doing.
Yeah, no, this year we even had all the buffaloes hauled before we put on snow equipment, so take all the weight of the snow equipment and add that on the trucks, and, you get more per haul.
Who do you contract your fuel with?
We don't contract any fuel. We haven't
Fly everywhere.
haven't for a few years, but usually the guys will just get fuel wherever's closest to
Wherever
their hauling. Mostly K&H Farmers Co-op, 5-star,
I have to say 5-star. See those in the claims anyway.
and Quick Star,
Yeah.
the majority of it, and then we get some bulk fuel also from K&H at Thompson, and then Lake Mills has a bulk tank too, and then we have a mobile tank sometimes that we set out at the pit.
Well, takes mostly for the maintainers in there.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, it's just kind of depends on where they're going. I mean, in Thompson, they'll all fill up at the bulk tank, you know, unless for some reason they all need to fill up at once or something, they need to go uptown. Same with Lake Mills, but you know, as they're going through Forest City here, we don't have a bulk tank here, and Quick Star's fast and right on the way. You'll still see us hauling here, trying to just get a little extra in the pile for stock, spot loads or to save.
I know it's a bit premature in the winter, but I think we're gonna be setting okay on our winter budget,
Yeah, I mean,
other than that snowstorm at the end of April.
yeah, well, I mean, we know for one thing, our salt piles look almost untouched. And last year we also didn't use any, so that's been really good. You know, we spend about 50 to 70,000 a year on salt. Last year, spent none. And this year, we probably won't buy any either unless we use a bunch here at the end. Again, we'll spend none. And the other place you see it, blades, tires, fuel, and overtime wages. I haven't looked at those specifically, but my gut feeling is
They should be down.
should be down. I mean, we just haven't been out a lot.
And it probably reflects on compensation, you know, comp time built up too.
Right.
That'll be beneficial in the summer if they don't have as much comp time to burn off.
Yeah.
Could be working.
Last little over a year, the price of a barrel of oil's gone up almost 300%. It's over it's 105 last time I looked.
Yeah.
And they're talking 150, maybe 200.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on around.
If that's the case, our fuel budget next year won't probably look too good.
Well, I was asking about contracting, but you don't ever contract?
We contracted once on Mike's request.
And then you got in trouble
And
somehow,
yeah,
right?
in that time, you know, I'm sure if you contracted regularly, you know, keep some sort of routine, it probably is about a wash.
The trouble is that it doesn't go up on supply and demand, it's going up on politics. And politics can change in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then you have to contract winter fuel and summer fuel, and it's a difference.
That's what we do. You know,
It can be done.
it's usually beneficial. It seems like it's usually beneficial, but yeah, we've gotten caught a couple of times too, you know.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I think a lot of people are contracting for is predictability, and then putting certain costs in certain fiscal years depending on whatever they're trying to do with their taxes. And, you know, we don't have those kinds of things to worry about.
Yeah.
So all we'd be trying to do is protect ourselves from spikes.
Mhm.
And, you know, we haven't seen a lot of that in the last 5 years. Now is about, I mean, by far the worst that I can think of, even since I've been here. I remember gas was like $4 a gallon when I was in college, but
Yeah, back in
a long time ago.
the mid-2000s.
Yeah. 2000, yeah, 5, 6.
People in the Middle East started rattling their sabers back then. Over the price.
You had $4 gas when you were in college?
I remember that, yeah.
I had 35 cents.
Yeah. And I was driving a 3/4 ton pickup at the time for no purpose, but it took about that to get home, you know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
One time with my semi back then, I almost spent $1,000 filling it up.
Yeah.
That was the cheapest.
I'm sure you were able to just pass those costs on to the person you're hauling.
Actually, we do have a thing called a fuel surcharge. For the segment, so yes, we did. Actually, it was passed on. for so much, and as the fuel increased, the fuel surcharge went up. But it still, it got to the point where you couldn't carry enough cash. You know, so I finally had to break down and get a credit card.
Yeah.
Had to leave with about $5,000 for the week. Yeah.
Well, and it's scary when you're carrying that much cash. If you get mugged, you're in trouble.
There's some weird things out there.
The world is really weird right now.
You know, you wanna pick and choose where you park to sleep, because they're probably open the vents of your truck, and then they spray regular everyday ether that you can buy to start an engine in your vent, and gas you in there, and then they break the truck around.
What? Really?
Well,
Oh, that's terrible.
just like the doctor, give you a little ether.
Oh.
So what else do you have for us?
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is my contract's up this year again, because we did a one-year contract last year, so kind of like last but not least, hopefully, with all the salaries and elected official stuff that's been getting approved. So I guess what I'm asking is, what do you want to see? What numbers can I bring you in order to figure out what salary we should put in my next year's contract? I usually do a workup of similar counties of population and surrounding counties comparables. That's what I normally do. If there's anything extra you want to see, I can find it.
I guess that would be a start.
Yeah. What I've usually found is that, we think there's going to be a trend based on area. Let's say the bigger the county, the more they pay their engineer, or population, or budget size, or whatever. And I can't find really a decent trend. There's a lot of small counties with low populations that pay their engineers really well. I think that's a lot in part due to they can't get engineers to move to small towns, so you get that kind of effect going.
And then there's also the sharing of the engineers.
Sure, there's I think 6 or 7 that are shared, so that kind of really doesn't weigh into the conversation very well, because those
Many
engineers,
of them are local,
yeah,
North Iowa.
yeah, those engineers typically make, I would say, 10 to 30,000 more. They're handling 2 counties, but I don't think that's really worth incorporating into the discussion. What else? On both ends of the spectrums, high populations, low, big areas, low areas. It's not a really great trend, so I'll show you some comparables, but it's not going to be enlightening, I don't think.
Is that something you're gonna email to us, Scott?
Yep. Try not to drown you with too much information too, because there's a lot out there. So I'll maybe have that on next week's agenda to talk about.
Okay.
I assume at least 1-year contract makes the most sense. I guess that's the way it looked with the,
All of them.
yeah. So that's what I'll plan on.
Yeah, this is not the year to do a multiple year contract.
Unless you're willing to concede 3 years at minimum.
Sure. I think it's best for everybody, we wait and see what things are doing, probably. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, so number 6, consider for approval resolution to award and authorize the chair to sign contract with Northern Iowa Construction Products, L-CO95G14W1-73-95 in the amount of $103,515.39.
Where's this company out of?
They're out of Waterloo.
Cedar Falls, maybe. Okay. The manufacturer,
They're just a dealer.
all dealers.
We've gotten metal pipe from them since probably the 80s, almost exclusively. They had a really good relationship with Mark and Doug and Jim through the years.
Prices are definitely was competitive.
Yeah, I checked a little bit when I started, and I mean, the price of metal pipe pretty much matches the price of steel. The markets, whatever, go up and down. That's why,
Get it?
you know, they're up this year so much.
So
And
when
this
it says 99 units, that's the actual,
was bid by the lineal foot, so it's 99 lineal foot. It
okay,
means it's, you know, tape measure 99 feet long.
And that's for which one then?
The Derby bin site one.
Oh, that.
Yeah. It actually, the number of units, I mean, if you think about units, we'll be getting a stack of rounded plates, and there'll be way more than 99. Well, let's see, I haven't counted, but
so is that a 3-part,
that's 5 parts.
5 parts?
Yep, one on the bottom, one on each haunch, and then one on each
Five.
top.
It would be a lot on one truck.
I don't know how much, I mean, they're aluminum, so I'm sure they can stack them up pretty tall on the truck. They're not heavy.
Say trucking, you can.
Yeah, I mean, they say the plates, you can lift them with 2 guys. I'm not sure what the weight per piece is.
And then you pour footings underneath this.
So this size actually has an invert, so the plates wrap all the way down to the bottom, just like a round pipe.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not round structure, but it is a full,
And I think I asked before, but how many have you done of these before?
well, the crew that we have now, on our dirt crew, haven't done any, but a couple guys were here, a couple guys on staff were here in the 90s when we did 2. 99, I think. One's under our 74 towards the Hancock County line, and then one's out by Three Fingers under a gravel road.
And what's the projected date for this again?
To install it, we got a lot of moving parts still until we can figure out when our precast is available for the other structures, but I would guess maybe August, give or take a month. If precast gets pushed out and this is available, we might swap some things. And I know right now the metal pipe that I ordered, the quotes are really high, so we're sitting on it and waiting 30 days to see if perhaps the steel price goes down. I don't know.
Has it been pretty consistently going up, or is it?
Well, we haven't ordered, these are 96 and 84 inch diameter metal pipes, and we didn't order any last year, so all of my pricing's 2 years old. I can't really say if it jumped in the last couple of months or last year and a half, I don't know.
So you're saying I should probably go ahead and recycle my metal?
I don't know what that market looks like either, I guess.
Yeah, I've got a whole horse trailer full of it. Been sitting on for,
I've got a gooseneck that's loaded, and I gotta put more on it.
and I haven't called for a butter price lately. Usually during the winter, it goes up quite a bit, because a lot of people want to haul that iron.
Yeah.
So do we have a motion to consider the approval of resolution to
This
award?
is in my district. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to award and authorize the chair to sign the contract with Northern Iowa Construction Products.
I'll second it.
On a motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold, to approve the resolution to award and authorize the contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
There's a signature for you on the first page and second page, and then one for Carla on the first page, I think. Get you a copy.
You know, I like the originals, Scott. I have a hard time giving that up.
Me too.
You guys are fighting over the originals. All right, so we're not done yet. All right, consider for approval a resolution to award and authorize the chair to sign contract with Forterra Pipe and Precast for L-2022 Precast 7X95 in the amount of $155,400.
This is a bid that covers two projects. Covers the concrete pipe for the crossing on R50 up on DD1 Lot 2, and then the 10 by 10 box for G16N1, which is on the gravel road. Which gravel road?
Is that upstream from the
Four-
same pipe?
440th Street. Oh, geez. It is the same. It's the same creek.
Is it upstream from it?
The 96 is upstream from the 10 by 10. The one thing I'll say on this bid is, for some reason, well, until we have a contract, I can't go back and negotiate with the supplier. But for some reason, the 8-foot round pipe is more per foot than the 10-foot square box. That doesn't make sense just from a amount of material and all that standpoint. So there must be some availability or
Yeah, that's,
some parts in there that are skewing.
And
is
Yeah.
it for some reason cheaper to build a square than a round?
If it is, then
I can't.
I need to-
You would think they would all be,
modify the way I order. I mean, usually you'd think round is cheaper than square, just because it's the geometrics. I don't know how to explain it, but in terms of the amount of open area you need, usually round is cheaper. So I guess after this is signed, then I'll be able to go back to them and see if there's anything they can make us cheaper, whether it be a 10 by 10 box. I mean, we can put that in if that makes sense, or 8 by 8 is even big enough to take the same flow as or even a 7 by 8.
So if you get it cheaper, then we'll have to do a new,
And we'll just negotiate the price.
do we need a new,
No, we don't need to do new bids. Once you have a contract with the contractor, then you can negotiate anything you want back and forth, as long as it's in, best interest of both parties. You have to agree on it.
not to exceed.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this one can go down a little bit, but no guarantees.
Yeah, there's more concrete in a square structure than a round structure.
Yeah, especially 10 by 10 to 8-foot round. I mean, way
There's more volume in an 8 by 8 square than there is in an 8 round.
much more.
seems like there should be a mistake.
Yeah, but you get bids, you open them up, and that's what you get. That's what we have to approve, and then we'll go back to the table and see if there's any other options.
Does it cost any extra to put in a round over a bigger square?
Not really, because we still gotta dig the same hole basically, and we still have to have the crane. Maybe the size of the crane would be potentially different, but I wouldn't think so. A 6-foot long 10 by 10 barrel weighs significantly more than a 8-foot round pipe. Still make about the same crane size would work. That's about the only difference I can think of. The bedding would be about the same.
But are they the same lengths?
Well, we were planning to just order the same length of pipe that's there. It's metal, so it's not tapered. It's just square end. Put a box culvert on a paved road. We should put tapers on the ends. So
I was
that
talking
might,
about each segment. Or kind of like a round versus a square. Is a round usually longer?
I think rounds come in 8 normally, and I'm not sure if these are too heavy for that. I think they come in 8 foots, and the boxes would come in 6 normally. So maybe there's enough extra footage there where they're the same height, each piece.
Whose district is that in? That is
Yours,
That's mine.
One was supposed to be in Newton.
just south of, the first one we did,
That's
the aluminum one, that was in my district, but
Okay.
these two are up south of Vinci.
Well, I thought he looked like he was pointing
I did
Yeah.
too.
in Newton.
One's
for
a
one of
New-
these
one's
too.
in Newton, one's in Logan.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
Where's the one in Newton then?
It's the same creek, but they're in two different.
440th, here's the round pipe, goes all the way down
Oh,
here.
down there.
Yeah.
So that's the one east of Branstead then?
Yep.
Okay.
So you guys will have to make a joint, motion for this.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to award and authorize the chair to sign a contract with Forterra Pipe and Precast.
I'll second.
A motion by Smith, seconded by Derby. To approve the resolution, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passed. Got your work cut out for you.
Mm-hmm.
So the round was on the blacktop or the square was on the blacktop?
Well, the round was on the blacktop, but that's the one I'm talking is inflated in price and maybe coming a box if it makes sense.
And the square was down just west of the blacktop then?
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else for Scott, guys? That's all. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good day.
Yep, you too.
Auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
Chris is not here.
Oh, Chris is not here. Do you know if there's anything?
There's nothing.
Okay. Open forum?
Let's see here. Got a lot of manure.
A lot of alternative fertilizer.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, really?
When fertilizer's so high, you have to consider whenever passing fertilizer. Yeah, I'm surprised there haven't been more applications for more sites. With the price of fertilizer going skyrocketing.
Yeah,
What they say, 15% of the land utilizes manure application.
15?
there's not enough.
Yeah, whether it's chicken litter or hog manure or whatever. I saw somebody had got some loads just west of the bulk plants up north of town. Chicken litter. So they're starting that.
Oh, we're starting to pile it.
Well, the equipment's there too.
Oh,
The spreaders.
Oh, yeah.
Piles are there and the spreaders are there. Imagine they're probably doing it at night when it's
I was
frozen.
just gonna say that.
We don't have to sign these manure management.
No.
The only thing we can do is in the master matrix, do the scoring, then recommend or not. It's kind of our limitation. But every year we have to approve being a part of that.
And so that how they come up is just when they started,
Yeah, they just,
That's-
just for your information.
a rotation, whatever,
The only
whenever
thing
they.
we have is if they make a change. Kind of like that one by Shutters, you know. A year later, they had to make a change because
Mhm.
part of that.
Is that hog house up and going yet that's north of Hogsback? I haven't been by there lately. The new one that they were building,
I don't know. I haven't been up there.
by that. Road trip.
So is budget due today or is it yesterday or,
We're setting the public hearing today for the,
yeah, but you were saying yesterday you had to get that done. Was it before today you had to have that done or?
yeah. For the, send it to the paper.
We didn't know if you were interested in being part of the Iowa Works Labor Shed meeting. It's a Zoom meeting
Today?
too. Forward to if you want, but it,
I think I got it.
okay. Should be interesting.
Do you want to call Julie Swenson and see if she has the claim sheets?
Sure.
And I'll go see if Lindsay has the phone book.
Of course I do. There it is. Claim sheets she needs? Is that what she just
I believe
said?
that's what she said.
Lindsay said it'll be about a half an hour for the payroll, so you guys can decide if you want to stick around and wait or not.
Hi, Anastasia. This is Susan Smith over in the boardroom. Is Julie around? It was just, I think Carla was looking for the claim sheets. Thanks.
Did you, or did we get, Ruth contacted then about the position?
I called her, yep. She did have some additional questions that I wasn't able to answer, so I referred her to
You just need a stamp on it then? I was reading the article this morning about Cerro Gordo Supervisors redistricting. LSA did the same thing there as they did south of there, where they made one urban district.
Oh, they did?
And so it'll be interesting down there. I don't think it affected any of them. I think Chris Watts has to run midterm. So he has a 2-year term he's running for. He's already in, but because of the changes, he has to do it, run again for 2-year term.
Well, they have 2-year terms over there?
Well, no, because of the district change,
Oh.
it's only a 2-year term, and then it goes to
Wow.
a 4-year term.
And they reduced it so they can have another vote by that current,
Because of the change of
yeah,
district.
by the current population mix of that is,
I imagine if there'd have been enough change in ours, she would have maybe had to done the same thing. But we didn't have that much change, so.
it just doesn't seem like people at the state should be making our districts. It seems like we should be making our districts.
Or at least representatives from our area
Yeah, or have.
that understand
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to
People
be
from
us.
our county doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're pushing.
From the way it sounds, we're lucky they didn't change ours.
Oh, I know.
Everybody's getting changed.
I think we were late enough to where they didn't want to mess with it.
Well, there's still people that haven't heard anything back.
Really.
Yes.
And they're gonna have just a matter of days to actually file the papers then?
Oh my gosh.
Or you just file papers in 2 different districts and,
I don't know what is all gonna happen, but I
don't think the legislators knew what they were stirring up.
yeah, there's counties that still haven't heard anything.
There's some stuff going on with early childhood too that's gonna be under a different umbrella too, that they don't know where they're gonna put it, and it's gonna be a mess.
Our budget doesn't look very good.
I was hearing some of the comments about the tax reduction plan they're doing at the state level. They're talking like if you're a farmer, and you're retired, and you're leasing out your land, you don't have to pay taxes on the lease. So your income from the lease, because you're retired.
Really?
Then there's certain retirement benefits that you don't have to pay taxes on, and if it's out of your 401k or out of your IPERS or whatever, you're gonna pay taxes on that. And the effective rate's only gonna be 3.9 for everybody else, corporate or otherwise.
Where'd you see that?
That was on the news.
Yeah, I saw a little bit about all that.
But it's what they're trying to pass. It's been adjusted from what the governor proposed.
They talked a little bit about it at the legislative forum.
But I'm sure they didn't have all the details yet, because
No,
each side was
they were
different.
just given- Yeah, it's,
This was Monday morning, I heard about it.
So will they talk about that on Friday at the, isn't there a forum?
You can ask.
Yeah. Interesting. Why do you think, where did that come from?
Oh, they're trying to get rid of, taxes altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got those in my baskets. Sorry they're late.
Thank you. Yep.
all right,
Thanks,
thanks.
Julie. She said she was with a customer. Anastasia said she was with a customer.
Sounds like if this passes, then Iowa would be the 4th lowest tax rate state of states that have income tax. But then there's ones that don't have income tax.
Or,
South Dakota.
Arizona.
Not sure about Arizona.
Like, how many states are there that don't have infant?
That's why everybody wants to go to retire to certain states, just to establish residency there, you don't have to pay state tax anymore.
Florida's looking better and better all the time, huh? Actually, it's been pretty beautiful, yesterday, that weather, oh my God, gorgeous.
Overall, our winter is
It hasn't been.
bad, especially because we haven't had lots and lots of snow.
Well, Farmer's Almanac says we still may get the big one the end of April.
Saturday, you have the blizzard in April, wonderful. The good news is usually by then it's, won't last long.
TJ just took the planter over for a planter inspection yesterday.
Yeah, you get your big blizzard October 31st, and then it sticks for the whole winter. That's what
They're also predicting really hot summer next summer. Interesting. You might have to, the moisture you get in April, you might have to store through the summer.
we have to all sign these, right?
Oh, that's right, I forgot, that's claims.
Those might get their stamp on the page. I think my best one.
So is this still under open forum? No.
We haven't
County
done
claims?
yet. This is the claims.
Consider for approval semi-monthly county claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the semi-monthly county claims.
Motion by Davey, seconded by Jensvold to approve the semi-monthly county claims. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
We done 10 yet?
Nope.
What's the date you're planning on for the,
March 22nd. 9:15.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for the fiscal year 2023 budget for March 22nd, 9:15 a.m.
I'll second it.
If we want to, we could go out one more week. We could try to make some cuts, do some more stuff to it, if you want.
You need to?
Well,
March 22nd, we turn it into,
Would you
Where-
say
where
a
are we
$4
at
million
with
dollar
the-
discrepancy?
Deficit.
Okay, so where are we at in the custodian's budget? Did we cut some of the,
We took out all the boilers, we put in 50,000.
okay, and then the other thing I was looking at is if some of this could be, if there was anything in here that we could cover with any of the federal funds rather than with, trying to remember what projects would possibly be in there. Is did we have levy amounts in there for the nature center? That was levied last year and it's carrying over. Are we levying again or are we just carrying it over as a cash?
I think we're carrying it over as cash.
Okay, so that's not gonna gain us anything then.
You see all the individual budgets look pretty good, but the overall, so one of them must have a number in there that's outlined. Or it has to come from somewhere. I don't remember there gonna be this issue. I thought we were looking pretty good last time.
So if we need to look at it closer, then we'd be better off to set it for the 29th of March? Put it out a week, or how does that work?
Well, if you're gonna come in and do a budget workshop sometime this week so that we can look at it, I think. Let me print the whole works out for you.
Need some caffeine?
I've had plenty this morning.
You got a new cup.
No, this cup's been around for a while. I just forgot my other one in the truck. And, I don't remember to get it out of there. But, I took it all apart and cleaned it up. I just haven't switched over back to the other one. Nobody ever uses it, but me anyways.
So it looks like we have about $1 million less in TIF revenue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's the 1/4 of what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I don't remember us having that issue, so,
Yeah, it didn't compute out that way before.
yeah.
is considered intergovernmental revenues.
Intergovernmental revenues.
It went down also.
Well, let's see if I can get my other system up on this computer. I have my other system on this computer.
It's gone down $2.5 million since 2021. Whatever that is. Long-term debt.
What's that?
Long-term debt proceeds.
Long-term debt proceeds would be the, like for the, when we get in money for, like the jail. That would be the
Money
revenue.
coming in from the money we borrow.
Yes.
Which was almost 7 million in 2021, and it's been zero the last two.
Oh, that would, sorry, I misspoke. That would be when you borrow that. So like when we do a,
We borrowed money, and that's the money that came in, and we haven't borrowed any since. Okay.
It looks like our total obligation for our TIF debts are $3,075,000, and our revenues from TIF are only or just under 2.8 million.
yeah, the TIF took a hit this year, and that's gonna be, it's bad.
But that's just a portion of it.
Public safety is that $1 million there, right? Public safety and legal services.
Public safety, $500,000.
Public safety and legal services, it's changed $1 million since 2021.
Well, no, that's over 2 years.
Yeah. It's, we're up 500 off of that, I guess it's still $1 million.
So intergovernmental revenue, state shared revenue, state replacements, which that's like
Backfill,
state, federal pass-throughs, contribution from other local government, state grants and entitlements, federal grants, payments in lieu of taxes.
so losing all that,
But we gained,
the taxpayers in a sense are gaining it back by everything they're cutting at the state level. They're just passing some of it
we're not
on.
gonna have a mental health levy anymore.
Yeah, and we got. Why was the levy so, help, it was $500,000 last year. 354,000 is about what it should be, which it was 2 years ago. This year is 0, of course, but you can't understand why it was so high last year. The states. Maybe we had to give them that, our levy and the fund balance, maybe we had special fund balance. We've got almost $1 million difference in the physical health and social services. What is the physical health part? Is that our,
Public health or
Tell me where you're at, Bill.
Under
expenditures and other financing uses?
it's
The
on
third
budget
one
summary,
down.
What page?
budget summary.
first page.
On the first page.
Yeah. Physical health and social services
Line
was,
19.
it's gone up 900,000, almost $1 million from
That's-
last year to this year.
That's the nurses.
Nurses,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember their budget increasing really.
Look at page. Page 8, that's the nurses and social services there. And it went up $1 million.
Under social services,
Between public health and,
Health administration is where it went up.
oh, wrong page number, I can't see what
8
you're,
of 18.
there's 7 of 18.
It's on the back side of a sheet.
Oh, it's in the back. Health administration. How did that go up $1 million in a year?
well, and some of that could be the building.
Oh, did we put in the budget for the new building?
Oh, yeah, we put $500,000 in for that.
So if we did that, we also have a revenue to match it out of,
We have the fund balance of the million sitting there.
Right, so is
That's
that
in-
accounted for in here that we're taking it out of fund balance? That's part of the deficit.
It's not in this, in Fund 3, Service Area 3.
Right.
And it's sitting in the other.
That's why part of this, you know, the $500,000 is coming out of cash on hand, basically.
Yeah,
Well, that explains some of that then,
Some of it.
because we did more of that, too.
the other place that we need to fix, that we can't leave it the way it is capital projects. On page 14, capital projects cannot be negative ending balance. So I don't know if you need to add more to Robert's building, or you need to tell Robert he needs to take money out. I don't know what you need to do, but it can't be an ending fund balance of 300,000.
Okay, so he's got in here for his, let's see, what line is that on? Oh, it's 18, you say 18?
Page 14,
14,
Okay.
Yeah.
18,
and that's the capital projects.
And that'd be under conservation.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's why this capital projects on the front
Where's the
page
negative
is,
fund balance? You said 300 and some thousand?
Yeah, it's negative 300,000.
Which capital projects, which line?
Yeah,
I'm not seeing it here.
Well, it's the line is 10, but it's,
210?
yeah,
yeah,
yep,
Yeah.
so when you look at a deficit, you said there of and what do they have? They have 1.5 right now, don't they?
what they have for,
I think the letter I got from them was 1.5 was what they've raised. And what were we talking about? 500 towards that also? Altogether, or was it more?
no, it wasn't more than 500,
Because we were talking about if we include what we already promised them.
for 149 or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then you combine that with the increase, I thought it was gonna be 500 for all of it.
So this is $1 million difference here.
Well, they sounded like they'd raised 1.5 million, whether they're counting on the county for part of that or not. Probably at least 140,000, whatever.
Well, their fundraising was, at one point, I know it was at least 1.2 million.
But they've raised, I don't know, the letter I got said 1.5. Maybe we need to call Robert and ask him to clarify that.
So how do you normally do this? Do you do this during a meeting like this, or do you have a special budget meeting where
No,
you?
whenever we can fit it in, you know, whether it's a regular meeting or,
Mhm. Well, that explains this, the capital projects on the front page, part of it, then.
so is there any of these federal funds figured into his project
And
So we've already got $500,000 with public safety, we've got $1 million with nurses, we've got $1 million with nature center. 2.5 right there,
$1 million with the TIF.
oh, and $1 million with TIF.
So according to the revenue sheet that I have from the beginning on conservation, last year there was 1.178531 in revenue. This year it shows a negative 1.4. Is that because it was already there, or?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Oh, on this sheet, page 50 of 69.
Okay.
What does that mean, that it's a negative 1.4 million?
Because revenues are negative. So,
But the money was already there. They had raised what was last year, right? They had raised, what, 1 million?
1.2.
Page you on there, Terry?
50 of 69.
No, I think that's just how much he budgeted for revenue. I don't think that means the money was there. That's how much he budgeted.
I'm lost then. Why are you budgeting
Because the
one
money
negative?
in a sense is already there.
Right. It's a carryover,
Yeah,
But it's not actually in our funds.
so it's in their foundation funds, so it should be in here too. If he's counting on that money, it should be budgeted in here, right?
that money should show somewhere.
As a carryover
Carryover revenue.
transfer.
Yeah, that foundation money should be included in his
Yeah.
budget.
I think it's included. He's got it budgeted, but it's not actually in our funds. You know what I mean?
But shouldn't he be estimating it in here? Under that 6,300
Somehow,
line?
it should be showing up.
Should we call him and ask him about that?
Yeah, because there shouldn't be a negative. It's-
No.
yeah.
All numbers are negative.
All revenues are negative.
Oh, it is,
Yes.
but not last year.
Right.
Okay. So it is so he is budgeting money here then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got $895,000 worth of donations. He's got $100,000 worth of conservation grants,
What page is that on?
page 20. 250,000 of state conservation, 895 of contribution donations, and 37,000 worth of miscellaneous.
So then it transfers from this area to the other area.
So this is in capital projects.
Okay. What are they doing?
I don't know.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Somebody slamming the door.
There's a tussle going on upstairs.
It's just Kevin. It's just Kevin. It's okay.
What's going on in the courtroom?
Kevin can be a little bit of a bull in a china shop sometimes.
Door shut better or what?
So we feel like this is reflected in there then?
The conservation money?
actual- Under contributions and donations, right?
Exact same number on both 20 and 50. If you can.
In this capital project, so it's underfunded by what, $500,000 or so?
370 something.
Okay.
So we need to figure out what you want to do with that.
But we aren't putting any of the federal funds in it at this point.
I think I did
140?
140 or something like that.
That's
I
the
like it was
original
149.
143.
So what were we talking about that day then?
How much to add?
Yeah,
If I find my notes.
I don't think I have them with me.
Whatever is difference between the 143 and the shortfall is, I guess.
So I'm sure they were counting on our 143 in their fundraising. Yeah,
I took it out, sorry.
and we levied for that last year, so that should be cash on hand. And to me, if we take it out of federal funds, that bolsters our cash on hand from last year. And you said you probably figured that in. Did you figure it in on cash on hand, or did you, from what we levied, or did you figure it cash on hand from the federal funds?
I used cash on hand from what we had from last year because we'd already levied for it.
So we could probably, I don't know, are we all in agreement we want to use at least that part of it out of the federal funds rather than out of what we levied last year,
The 149 or whatever it was?
the original designation?
I think so. I think so.
Then we carry over more from last year into our, I mean, we can justify the 140 something for sure. That would make a little difference.
Emphasize little.
Yeah. We gotta pick it apart.
That's right.
I don't know how that works in your system.
It's fine. I really just wanted you guys to understand what it looked like and what it's gonna look like to the public is what I want you.
And you think you've got, we haven't identified, okay, so we're taking 500,000 for the nurses' capital project out of cash on hand, but it's already cash on hand if we actually designate it from the federal funds, right? It's just hard to differentiate on this paperwork. Well, we've already got it on hand.
You've got that nurse's 500,000 coming out of.
I just want to make sure we're not we're not levying for that 500,000.
It's, no, we're not levying for it, and that's why it looks so awful.
That is why it looks so awful. It's gotta be, because if we've got nurses, we've got we've got public safety, we've got the nature center.
Well, but then we still show, total ending fund balance. Before was 13.6, now is 9.2. So we can,
Well, we intended to lower the fund balance some.
yeah,
I mean, that's part of this.
that's quite a bit.
Yeah. It's,
My problem with lowering the fund balance is if we lower the fund balance too much, and then we have to raise taxes a bunch next year to make up for it.
But we also have more levying capacity next year because of the turbines. Losing some on one, but we're gaining it on another one. We don't know how this whole thing is gonna work out with the turbines.
yeah, that all could come back.
Yeah.
The ruling is favorable.
It might not.
But no, yeah, I'm not gonna count on it.
Well, and I don't know if we have any recourse after we've already designated the one. I think the only recourse is we can only deny the next one, which they've already applied for. But she said she has until September or something to approve or deny. So she's holding on to it as long as she can.
We lowered some of the levy numbers. If we put them all to where they were last year. where is
Well,
that?
we can't, because we already passed our max levy. So we can only go to where the max levy is right now.
So we didn't know this issue before we. Well, I mean, the other thing is, yeah, we're worried about fund balance.
We were looking more at fund balances at that point than,
I would say, yeah, we'll gain some on at least that one farm, and we should be in year 2 of this farm that's already been approved, so we should gain back a portion of that. Nice if we gained it all back, but
So who has that answer? Sue?
we don't, the legislature and the courts, and
We gotta wait on the court rulings.
because the same company that applied with us and we approved, just go back
So
to
once
zero.
Once that happens down there, it will apply to,
No.
oh,
What would be, in my estimation, is if what it was, Next Era came to us and said, this is what we did, it was substantial.
Mhm.
They went to the same county down there in Story and said the same thing, but they denied it, said, no, it's not substantial.
Yep.
So they're suing the
and
county,
so what Sue was telling us that day is that she didn't feel like we could
afford.
afford
A
or
loss.
wanted to tackle or whatever that.
So if they rule in the county's favor down there, we've already approved as is. We're kind of stuck with it, I think.
Yeah, we have no
Unless
recourse.
legislation precedes grandfathering. But it will reflect on the next one that they've already applied for.
Well, and it's not that we didn't want to fight it in the sense that we just figured we couldn't. So, yeah, there's
Thank you.
I would think that they will let the chamber over there that stand a chance of having change.
And, yeah, if it's in favor of Nextera down there, and we've already approved the first one up here, it's gonna be tough for us to deny it.
Deny the next.
Yeah.
So help me wrap my head around this a little bit more. The $1 million that we already have from is reflected in some of these
We've got,
expenditures.
you've already reflected 140 some in the nature center from cash on hand, but we wanna make sure it's part of the federal funds.
And the same with it's the same with the nurses and the same with the, what's the other one? Public safety, right? Public safety?
What was public safety?
I don't know, I just have that.
Wow,
I didn't do public safety.
Oh,
I
that's-
did the nurses and I did. The 140 for conservation.
Where does, the revenues of those, it will show on here somewhere then, the revenue from the federal funds. Is that in here somewhere?
Sorry, what was that?
The revenues from the 2 million,
We only got one so far.
okay.
but it should be coming pretty soon, because we got that a year ago, didn't we?
I have it in my office when we get the other part of it.
I would say another should be coming in, so that's, but we aren't allocating it anywhere
No.
necessarily. We've only probably even talked about half of it.
So we've got that 1 million in the revenues already, so that's in our, tending the
Cash
fund
on
balance
hand.
center. Cash on hand.
Fund balance.
Yeah, that's in the general other.
So we just need to make sure that the nature centers funds that they have on hand is reflected in here as
Some
well.
of this looks worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
So how much do you want to do for conservation?
Out of the federal funds, you mean? Well, I've talked to a lot of people out there that say that we should take care of whatever the deficit is with it for that.
I don't think I wanna go that far, but
I don't either.
Yeah.
I think if we can show support through the federal funds,
Did you have a dollar amount in mind?
Oh, no, I really haven't. There's people, I just talked to people that are fine with
Yes.
covering the.
I've actually had a lot of people email, call, discuss. I just don't know what the dollar amount is.
I guess my number, I was thinking with the initial included was the 500.
Was the 5.
A total of 500.
Then that gets them a lot closer to their goal, but keeps them reined in to where they're not, well, we've got plenty of money now.
We don't need to fundraise.
Yeah, I always, my figure that was in my head was always 300.
So that would include an additional 160 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that 500 would show a good investment by the county, even though it's federal funds. And if they go back and say they go back to the Worth County Authority and they go back to Hanson Foundation, then they're narrowing that asking to them, that it might be able to accomplish it that way. And we don't know what the bids are gonna come in at. I wish they'd get
Sure
it
would be
locked
nice
in.
if it come down.
Well, I wish they'd actually get a number.
It would be nice for it to have a number. I'd say 351.
Some of the changes in construction, the people that can do it, be more people that can possibly bid on it. We talked about that, but some of the changes they were gonna make to the building.
If they stick frame it
Because
rather
it's
than
not
pole.
as specialized, yeah.
But there's few of those out there anymore, too.
Yeah, everybody's,
They're busy.
I don't know that it's gonna make a lot of difference. It's not going to make up the difference in the increased costs, I don't think, because I was pricing two different lumber yards. One had the stuff on hand, one had to order the unit in, and it was 60% higher when you had to order it. So, yeah.
60. Holy cow. So back to Carla's question.
Well, I gave my thoughts, so
Mm-hmm.
it's up to you guys to hash it out.
so the total of 500, that leaves them currently short about 200,000 or 300,000.
Well, they said they've raised 1.5 million in the letter I got from them, fundraising letter, the
So
newsletter.
if the 1.5 is more than 1.2.
So if we added another,
Does that
here,
include the-
3.5, if we add another 350, so that leaves it a couple 100,000 short of their
Yeah.
original estimate.
I think 350.
But I think, then it comes down to, like you said, they've got furnishings they have to put in at some point. They'll still continue to fundraise for those if they have all the money, but I don't think they're gonna have it. I think it's gonna be well over 2 million. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Yeah, when they get those new bids in.
My guess is Peter not gonna be wrong.
Since I'm already bidding projects.
Well, that, unless there's some kind of dramatic change, everything's gonna follow the price of oil explodes, makes everything else follow right with it, so.
Oh, yeah. But if we can get manufacturing up and going again locally, in the Midwest, that would definitely help building material prices. Still gotta get people back to work. What do you guys think?
Specifically for the nature center, I say 350
Plus the original.
plus the original,
Oh, plus it really,
plus the
so
149.
500, are you talking 500,000
Yep.
total? Okay. Because
Which
we're
is
talking,
which is what you meant, right?
yeah,
And they're
pulled
still
out of
gonna
the
have to,
federal funds.
Yeah.
And then that frees up the 140-some that we committed before in the cash balance.
that would probably be a fair number.
They've been very vocal. The supporters of it have been very
Oh, yeah.
vocal.
I've had people that aren't necessarily supporters, but think it's still gonna be a big project for the county.
Well, that, it doesn't have to come up with.
Right. That was the other side of it. They thought, it's one time we can pass the cost on to something else.
Everybody okay?
I'm still reeling over here.
Yeah, that was pretty violent.
I'm guessing it was more violent on the inside than it was on the outside.
Do you do anything small? No.
Oh, I hate sneezing. It's just like a violent reaction for me.
I let it out. That's my problem.
They say that your heart stops when you sneeze. And the way I go through it, I wonder how long it stops. It's just like,
Where's that defib thing?
yeah.
All right. So where are we at now, guys?
So we gained some there, right? Then public health, did we gain some on public health then?
Yeah. Because you had 400,000 in there, right?
500.
It was 5?
Yeah.
So we're basically using up our first allocation of money.
Yes, in 2 shots. Which.
I mean, it doesn't do anything to the budget, it just is how you explain
It's
it.
how we justify.
Exactly.
It's like I said, it looks worse than it really is.
Right. So it just emphasizes their talking points.
Mhm.
It just always seems like that, you know, like that increase should be covered by, but that money was already in there, so.
It's just how to explain it.
What else did we add like that? There's nothing else is there.
That's what I was asking earlier. I mean,
Okay, we took the boilers and all that stuff out.
Right.
So, I don't remember adding anything to anyone else's budget. But the purpose of using federal funds.
I just remembered I had my notes.
Because if we, because we would have never budgeted those things without the federal funds.
just the portion.
Yeah. What were the other big increases?
Public safety was one, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Public
public
safety.
safety, yes, I was just looking up
But
here.
it was a $500,000 increase.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah,
so
there's-
over 200 of that is just,
We have,
just what they mandated from the state.
another part of it's our insurance.
Yeah, the health insurance went way up, so. You said that went up,
How much was the actual on health
They
insurance?
haven't given us an actual
a million there, wasn't it?
29%.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it'll end up being, but
Do they, when they're looking at it, do they look at how this year's is going to set a trend?
they look at this year is they look at the group that we're in, the book of business, and look at, there's all sorts of things they look at.
I was just hoping that, you know, in the 6 months since they first estimated it, that possibly we were doing better health-wise.
I'm hoping so. I need to call.
We explained 500,000 of the public health, and where's the other 500? There's almost $1 million increase.
She upped her transfer again. Well, that was like 200,000. I'll have our insurance sale call me after lunch because I have some stuff I need to talk to her about anyway. So.
Yeah, I don't have the current numbers for public health. It's all zeros. They didn't have it in there.
Yeah,
Are you able to print that out? So
I could print that out. Let me see what I can do.
Seems like a large increase.
Something like that. We added 500 to their budget for the building, but where's the other down there 500 coming from?
It's just so hard to read that if,
Oh, yeah, these budgets are,
is this how they always have come, printed out like this? Okay.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
So we figured out where the 500,000 is coming from for public safety. We just don't know where the whole million is for nurses.
Well, that's why she's going to print off their budget for me.
yeah,
And the nature center, we kind of have that figured out, right?
I think so.
and then some of the plan was to, you know, we lowered the fund balance systems, we fixed some percentages, and some of it's gonna be because of that.
Yep. And then the TIF,
And then that TIF was a surprise.
yeah, $1 million surprise.
Yeah. So it's, but that takes the,
And we also borrowed money we're paying back on the courthouse repairs.
yes. So that's
in the TIF,
That's in that
the
TIF,
additional TIF.
yeah.
So that borrowed money, that's on that long-term debt proceeds that we borrowed, the 6 million?
Possible. 6 million?
Yeah. Almost 7.
Or is that,
General long-term debt proceeds.
you're
She
on
said
the
that
first
was
page?
borrowed. Yeah, that's the first page. She said that was borrowed money.
No. Well, I know we pay, our debt payment this year is 3 million, it says. Of course, here it shows debt service 2.7.
Yeah, that's well up 1.1.
But I was looking at the, where was it? Expenditure.
services. Their uniform patrol services.
With the cities, with the towns?
Is that income,
Must be
tax
Town
revenue, or
streams.
expenditures?
no expenditures.
They probably log it, that they spent so many hours in.
In the different,
I was just looking at law enforcement.
how much was it?
It went from 831 to 1,015,000. So there's
That's 30%, almost 30% increase.
so that must be the raises that.
The cities are seeing it coming because they're paying for that,
But they just signed a
Wonder-
3-year contract, so they won't see it for
Right.
3 years.
but they're already worried about past that.
Okay.
Another number that I was noticing is lower. If you look at page 6 of 18, utility tax replacement excise. I'm curious what that one is. That went down,
Under what here?
or are we're only estimating a portion of it. Well, I guess it's split out. They don't total it, they just,
Which one you looking under here?
on number 11,
11,
line 11.
utility tax replacement excise tax.
I guess it's split out among three, like general basics, general supplemental, and rural basic. And rural supplemental. So, I guess when you add them up, they probably add up to the numbers over on the right.
So is the new salaries for the new positions that we haven't filled, are they in here too? Okay,
With benefits.
with benefits and everything too? It doesn't take long for all those things to add up. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I don't remember having, when we were discussing this before, having such a shortfall.
No, I agree.
So I'm looking under on that same page.
It just makes you wonder if there's a
Glitch somewhere. On seven? No,
Page
looking.
6,
6 of 18.
intergovernmental revenues.
Okay,
You know, it looks like we're actually getting on line 13 more than what we did before. Barely.
yeah.
State replacements barely went down. It's kind of a wash. But then the big one, the other state tax replacements. So
So that'd be about what the backfill is.
it's $350,000 right there that we're losing.
And then there's another 200,000 in the next one down, state and federal pass-through, that's, okay, that's the,
So which line here was the mental health levy. The taxes for mental health levy show up in the page. It doesn't get scored out on this page.
Yeah, it wouldn't be, because it has nothing to do, that's just purely,
Unless it was under
Property
other
tax
county
money.
taxes.
would be under, where did I see it, where,
Somewhat, I know they put it
on
out.
the front page here, because it was, the next two numbers were zero. Where did I see that?
I just don't want the fund balance transfer in there. I want to know what did we levy last year.
I don't think we levied this much, but mental health, was 517 last year.
That was the transfer.
Zero this year, but I'm guessing that's the fund balance going out too, so.
Well, that's what I want to see. What did we levy last year for mental health?
Our actual levy was, lower because it was 354, but then we lowered it. It was only 2 something. Because we were 2750 or 28 per capita, which should be 270, 280,000. So that means we must have had practically that in the fund balance.
Page are you looking at? On that first page. And where are you seeing that?
What's that?
You were looking at, you were just saying, reciting that mental health stuff because you knew it in your brain.
Yeah,
You're
just
not
coming out of
looking-
my head.
That's coming out of your head. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, which means it could be wrong,
No, I just didn't know where you were finding that.
but,
Well,
so it's,
I suppose it's in the actuals in the budget revenues, or would it show up in revenues?
the revenue would disappear in the revenues.
It should show up in last year's.
Oh, last year's, yeah.
It's printing.
Okay, so where would I look up the revenues on what we took in last year or this current year for levies on the Fund 10?
Should be under Fund 10.
Departments.
Fund 10, Department 60.
That'd be back here. It's not showing up here.
What page are you on, Terry?
I'm looking at 63 and 69, but it's not showing up here.
Can we come in here and look in Brody's office, or you guys on camera?
Yeah, not right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Not a good.
What are they up to?
Did you talk to Brody already?
Yeah, this mental health, that doesn't make sense because it's only showing back in 21, but
Yeah.
19.
Just looking at that, and it's just, this doesn't, what's going on here?
So where do we find where the levy is?
You can look at my last year's budget book, and that should be,
But I'm looking here, back in 21, it was only 219, but we have no activity under that.
well, there's small activity because it was printed 131.22. You can at least see what we budgeted for levies.
Why wouldn't it all be in here? All the past things are. That doesn't add up to what we levied in those years.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so mental health last year, according to this, revenue. Oh, this is expense. All right. Expense. Yeah, they're not showing, well, there's zeros for last year, the revenue part of it. So it's gotta be showing up somewhere else.
What was the dollar amount? Do you kind of remember?
Well, I always thought we were in that neighborhood of 340,000 or so, but
350,
yeah.
354 would have been, because last year we were like a 27 or 28 levy per capita. And
Because I'm,
the year before that would have been when I think we stayed with CSS's, we came in at 35, so it was 350 that year.
I'm wondering if the revenue comes in like under zero or, it's not really showing, it's showing transfer or the payments from fiscal agent is all those numbers are. Where, would it be under,
So it would be under,
zero?
yep. Here.
Oh. So we were, in 19, we were 348, in 20, we were 344, in 21, we were at 196, but that was partial. We budgeted 355, and then last year we would have only budgeted through 255.
Mm-hmm.
So 255 was the number for this fiscal year. So half of that number is fund balance in that 519.
I printed all that and it still doesn't have Julie's numbers in it.
Well, every
What
time
number
when,
were you reading off from there?
Oh, this is
In
last
last
year's
year's.
budget. Let me find it in this one.
Yeah.
I'll try to duplicate it here. So this was
What do they call it?
under general supplemental, in 00 department.
Zero.
And look under, no, not, it's Fund 10. Look for, on the left side, 00010. Yeah. Hopefully it's on here. So it's after the end of general supplemental. Unless they changed it.
I need those back.
Okay. Get done with this part of it first. Yeah, it is. So on page 2 of 69, it shows up under current net property taxes. It's like the sixth item down on that sheet.
Okay,
That's the number we were looking for. The two.
Current net property taxes,
Yeah, that's the mental health.
yeah, those numbers, yeah, that's more like what I would think I would see, I guess.
Yeah. So the year before was 355.
Yeah.
All right, so now back to public health.
Why would that be under current net property taxes?
What?
Well, we were just talking about, why would mental health,
Because it's Fund 10.
oh,
Look at it, it's 0010. It's Fund 10.
I see.
And then going forward in this next year's budget, it's 0.
Okay, yep, I get it.
because it was paid by a levy, like a property tax levy.
Okay. And now that mental health is not in ours.
Right.
It's state.
It's state and it won't,
come through the county.
no portion of it in,
Well, so we created a new, because Fund 10 is gone.
Mhm.
So we created a new fund, Fund 3 now, that we will take some mental health stuff out of. So like Ruth's salary now will come out of Fund 3.
Fund 3.
And like supplies for that office will come out of Fund 3. Which is kind of dumb because we had to delete a whole fund and then create a new fund that does this exact same thing.
So why didn't they just leave it the way it was?
I don't know.
That's the question that went through my head too, is just, why do we
Why can't you just leave
use
it
this one?
alone and just use it for the same purpose and not use it as a state fund, but, or as a master fund, but
Yeah.
that would be too easy.
Where did Sandy's salary come out of?
25, general fund, so Fund 1 and then Department 25.
So these sheets must be set up more like the old sheets rather than these sheets. Because I'm trying to find that same line and write it into my book and it's not matching. Looks different. Because like here we've got, that's 00223. It's all those. the layout of these sheets.
Are not good.
Yeah, this one's kind of in line by the heading number. This one's jumping around and, yeah.
Remember when Ron Prachi told me this was gonna be so much better?
So,
And that is who?
He's the salesman who sold us this new software.
you know how you can tell when a
That's what
salesman,
I assumed.
you know how you can tell when a salesman's lying, can't you?
He's moving his lips.
So, the way this was printed and the way this was printed, how did this change then? How did you get it to print like this instead?
That was the original budget that I gave to all the department heads. And this was the one that I printed for you guys.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Some setting changed.
So,
All right.
do you want me to just make you copies of that?
Maybe it'd be better
Do you guys want it to?
to try to get through it
Okay.
while it's just all over the place. But because the difference between this and that, I can't even take totals because their groupings are different.
So how do you normally do this? If do you take that home with you so we can each like
Oh, we sit like this
Study
and
it?
we just go through it and try to
try to
analyze it and see what we can
pick
find.
it apart a little bit and see what's
Yeah.
what? Okay.
It's just homework in person. I mean,
I just didn't know how you normally did it. I need magic
it's
glasses.
just sad that we didn't have public health numbers to look at when we did budget. There's a few of them that way. It's much like, conservation and road department, they always give you their sheet. And you can't really look at it in the same way.
Yeah, no, they're both, yeah.
I think it's hard to look at.
Well, you should have looked at that and, well, you'll get a copy, but look at that and then look at this. It's like,
Horse,
so you gotta go one line at a time.
make your head spin.
Because there's so many numbers that are just minute differences, whether it's the 0043 or if it's a 0002. It's probably going to be easier just to pick apart that sheet, not even look at this. Look at my notes.
Yeah, it just got confusing when I pulled out my notes from all the proposed. I don't know how you guys keep it all in your head.
They were giving them a tour of the courthouse.
That's what all the noise was about?
I think so.
And they,
I think they were banging the victim witness coordinator's door.
Trying to make it go off,
I
the rest button?
don't think so, but
We should have been trying out our
no,
buttons to see if it works.
no.
Have been curious.
we've already been through that this week.
We've already been through that this week. We don't need to do it again.
This week?
Yes.
What did you get all, did you see all those emails?
Yesterday?
Oh, no, I didn't.
You know what? Maybe I'll tell Brody, you need to add you to the email list.
Actually, he said something to me about it yesterday. That he was adding me,
Okay, never mind.
yeah. But he just said it yesterday, so,
Okay.
so I don't need to know. I'll look later.
Okay. Because I got emails at 1 o'clock in the morning last night that there was not clear, so,
Wonderful. Wake you up.
no, thank God.
There's no wait for 1 o'clock in the morning. There you go.
Because she had such a great day yesterday.
Just busy.
How's your watch?
Oh, it's better today.
Good.
It's about 40 beats a minute slower today.
You know, I'm just texting my daughter back and forth. Her resting heart rate right now is 120. She's got to go around.
Mine was 135 yesterday.
I can verify that. She showed me.
There's a subtext. And
Okay, so
a deficiency
I looked through this.
magnesium or potassium.
What line were we looking at here that it was the public health and services? Supposedly went up almost $1 million. Why, I'm not sure where that number came from. What all is in that number on the first page there?
Well, some of it's from the ARPA money.
Okay, that's 500.
It's 800.
Oh, we put 800
That's what you
into
guys
that?
told me
Okay,
to
so they were
put
up
in.
to 1.3 then.
Yeah.
Okay. 800,000 is accounted for in that. So the rest is, be a little less than 200,000. So we don't have to worry about that too much.
Nope.
Okay, so. I'll write that in. On line 19 of that million increase, a little under $1 million increase, this is on the first page. 800,000 was accounted for by ARPA.
I didn't know we used that number.
Huh?
I didn't know we used that $800,000 number.
I think that's what we
That's
decided at that meeting.
That's what I had from the
We
meeting.
figured
Okay.
the estimate was gonna be well over the 500,000.
All
Yep.
for the addition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we can downsize it, and utilize a basement underneath it, that's gotta save things.
Yeah.
That'll give us more room.
That's good.
So capital projects is mostly just conservation then?
Yes.
And we're putting 500,000 there, right? ARPA?
An additional 350.
350.
Oh, additional 350. Because you were taking out a carryover from last year.
Right. I've already got 140 there, or 145,
146,
whatever it was.
Or whatever it was. Okay, then I gotta understand, where are we at on this then?
Let me grab my notes for the ARPA.
Yeah.
'cause
But what did we just discuss a little bit ago,
350.
total? Or 350 more than the 143?
350 more than
Right.
the one. Yep.
So 493. before we were taking it out of the carryover.
Mhm.
Now we can say 493 out of
ARPA.
ARPA.
Okay. I wanna see the increase on the
So I have
insurance as well.
in the budget for ARPA, I have 800,000 for public health.
Okay.
I have 145 for conservation, and then I'll add the 350. I have 50,000 for the recorders and the 50,000 for the auditors for those,
Scanning.
yes. And that's what I have for ARPA in the budget,
So
As of
100,000
right now.
for scanning,
yes,
and it's in the budget then?
yes.
So where would that be on these lines? This is, government services to residents. It's either administration or services to residents.
It's under fund. It's in Fund 9. Or in Service Area 9. So in the 50,000 under, so on page 13 of the state budget. Under the general other, there's 50,000 there. And then I think it's in either the general county management or the administrative services under general basic in line 1 or 2. I can't remember where I put it off the top of my head, but it's in one of those two.
Okay, so if you translate that to the front page, is that gonna be under the administration? Or is that gonna be under services to the residents?
Somehow I lost my front page. It is under, line 10 is under,
Do I have two here? I wonder. This looks like a duplicate. Is this yours then? Here.
government services to residents.
Okay, so I'll put 100,000 ARPA there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically 1.395.
1.395.
Government services residences is what?
That's the scanning,
That's where the
100,000 for scanning in two different departments.
100,000,
Altogether, 50 and 50.
50, yeah.
Yep.
Our ending fund balances do look good, except for the capital projects fund,
I suppose-
which will even itself out once I put in the extra money for the ARPA there. I mean, it still doesn't look good when.
So it's not
basically a zero,
1,395,000, it's 1,295,000, isn't it? No, 8 million,
Which number?
the total number. It's 800,000 out of ARPA for nurses, 100 for
Running,
the scanning, and 395 nature center, right?
I've got 495 nature center,
Oh,
Where's, what's the nature center under here?
capital project.
capital projects.
Projects.
So I have, line 27, I have 495 ARPA for the nature center. Line 23, I've got 100,000 ARPA for the scanning. And on line 19, I've got 800,000 from ARPA for the addition.
So you've got 3 different entries that you wrote in there. Yeah, all right, I got them all.
Just so I can explain it to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because they show, especially public health showed a pretty good increase.
Which in that expenditure in the end will also lower expenses of not having to rent that other facility.
Right.
because that sounds like that adds up to $1,000
Yeah, could be.
a month,
Yeah.
heat and electricity and.
Well, I suppose if it's usually if they're hard to heat, they're hard to cool too. So maybe it would be even. That would be a lot higher electric bill, I guess.
I gotta put this.
Do we have a lease on that? Do we sign a lease for that every year?
I think so.
I think it's a yearly,
Yearly?
or it's an extension probably every year. I remember the first lease.
Which building is that again?
It's north of the parking lot at the theater, right next to
Okay,
the
that
parking lot.
one, right, yeah, okay, just north of the parking lot there. I knew it was on that side of the road, but I couldn't remember exactly where it was at.
Well, I guess I'm more comfortable with it now.
You actually have a motion on the table you haven't voted on.
Okay, to set the public hearing. I think I'm still, did we get a second on it?
Yeah, Derby and Tinsvold for the 22nd of March
9:50.
at 9:15.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All opposed?
it's the longest discussion on one motion we've had in a long time,
Yeah, I
It
got-
is.
All right, March 22nd at 9:15,
without tabling.
public hearing for 2023 budget. And then I think
And I got the payroll here.
you've got payroll, but we did semi-monthly claims already.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll claims.
I'll second it.
Motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold. Motion to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Wow, does that mean we're at the end of our agenda?
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
We stand adjourned.
We stand adjourned.
Julie has left.
Well, it was critical because we were in the budgets.